Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in again. This is a special presentation which has the first part of your warm-ups for the first part of Cycle 4. Before we get started, please let me encourage you to open up to the template on Google Classroom, and on this Google Doc, please remember to format the questions and the answers accordingly in a different color. So, from the lesson on Tuesday and Wednesday, we were closing out the unit with our last piece of content there about the rise of early empires in the ancient world. So what are signs and factors of successful empires in world history, and generally speaking, what do these aspects tell us about world cultures? So we're going to look at some of those things that we discussed in the lesson right now. So first and foremost, a general definition of an empire would be a formal body of a civilization that seeks to expand its influence. For example, when I mentioned to you, the Roman Empire and the Mongol Empire, there might be different words and connotations that come to mind. But most of the empires in world history have one thing in common: control of land, dominion, cultural advancement, and control. So most empires rely off a centralized power where the form of government is rather strong and they hold and keep power at whatever cost possible. It kind of makes sense when you think about the fact that most empires grow to be quite large and substantial, so they have to centralize and keep power in this way. Additionally, most people in the empire have some type of role that they play that contributes to a greater communal whole. For example, they might have specialized jobs. People might be able to create items, products, or goods for the empire. Additionally, communication is really important for an empire because they rely off a common language, whether it be spoken, written, or a consensus type of culture that is communicated to. Most successful empires also have common ideologies, which means a common religion or common views, and maybe common morals and values too. And down here at the very bottom, most empires rely off a war because they use it as a means of expanding their control, their dominion, and their influence too. So these things are clearly important for successful empires to exist and persist. Now let's go ahead to the next question of the day from Thursday and Friday, from October 15th and October 16th. What are some of the biggest thematic takeaways from the first unit on the early world? What did we learn about in the main, basically? Here's some of the key things that I hope that you'll keep with you well beyond this unit. So first, let's talk about the idea, the main idea here of the unit, and that is that mankind is a dynamic and ever-changing type of person who seeks to engage with the world in a fashion that is conducive to his or her needs, and that has impacts on the world and the culture that we speak of. Additionally, mass migrations around the world show us and tell us why people moved to different places and where they moved specifically. Understanding where they moved and why they moved is a key part to understand the story of all of us. Additionally, Earth's physical changes impacted mankind directly. For example, as climate changed, so too did we change. As the climate changed, so too did our agricultural habits. And from those things changing, so did our lifestyles in a big, helpful way. Another big idea here is the fact that as mankind settles, mankind grows, civilizations form, and mankind advances rapidly. There's different types of structures that are embellished in our early communal sense. For example, social hierarchy and specialization of jobs, as alluded to in the last warm-up, and things like that. Another main idea from this unit is the fact that mankind is innovative and always seeking to make something new, whether it's new tools, new trade opportunities, new weapons, new clothes, new cultural structures. These things help show us and tell us the story of all of us and how we're ever trying to advance our society. And last, down here at the bottom, another big idea from this unit is the fact that civilizations form into empires for self-preservation of common identity and common culture, and they grow rapidly. And as empires grow rapidly, so too does that affect the world forever. For greater context here, just think about the Roman Empire. What would have happened had they never actually come to power? The world as we know it probably wouldn't have been the same, for sure. And you could say that about most other empires as well. So the rest of this year is going to be focused on the way that different types of civilizations and empires combine to form their identity on the world. And from a cultural standpoint, we can learn more about who we are today from tracing ourselves back to the days of empire. Thank you very much for tuning in. Remember to complete the rest of your warm-up packet when the presentation is posted for the other two warm-ups. Thank you very much.